Well, good morning, morning, my friends. What is up? It is your friend and pal Seth. My pronouns are he and they. I want to welcome you into your morning inspiration, your morning inspiration video for the day, y'all. Y'all, it is Monday. It is Monday. I also call Mondays Mindset and Motivation Mondays. And now I'm actually going to start calling them Mindset, Motivation, and Momentum Mondays as well. Okay? Because it's important to definitely always keep that momentum going. All right? So, I hope that you are doing well, that you're making it the most fantastic day ever so far. And if you find that you're needing a little bit of some extra motivation, I hope this video serves to do that today for you today. Helps you to feel just a little bit better, maybe 1 to 3% better. Hey, y'all, let's stretch it maybe 4 or 5%. Okay, so there we go. All right, so as it is Monday, what do we do here on Mondays? We do our weekly recap, okay? And today is Monday, December 1st, y'all. Okay, so I'm in a bit of a state of shock going, "Oh my gosh, 2025 is literally almost over." It feels like it literally flew by. But the last week of November was a really powerful one, even though we only, there were two holidays, and there was a holiday and everything last week. So our community practice didn't meet on Thanksgiving, and also didn't meet the day after Thanksgiving. So we had, some limited days of programming and everything, in our community practice was meeting, but it was still powerful. Okay, so let's get into kind of what we did last week. All right. So one of the things we talked about was this concept of, as I talked about in the first part of the video, momentum, mindset, motivation, and momentum Mondays. Okay. It's one of the things we were talking about, just this concept of momentum. And actually, I found, in doing, some research and in learning, and a lot of the things that I've learned kind of over the years and everything, is that there is actually a difference between motivation and momentum and everything. And that's one of the things that we were kind of talking about, and everything. And so we were just really talking about this concept of momentum and kind of distinguishing it, from motivation and everything, and kind of how that fits into our wellness and everything. And I think that's something that's really, really powerful. And along with that, we were talking about this concept of the 5 4 3 2 1 technique, this 5 second technique, excuse me, by Mel Robbins. And Mel Robbins talks about how this can be useful for anxiety. This can be useful for impulsiveness. In addition to that, kind of taking action and pushing ourselves to keep moving forward. Now, I'm going to actually be doing like a separate video, kind of all about this technique and everything. Because me personally, I want to learn a lot more about it and everything before I actually really, really talk about it and talk about kind of my experiences with it and how it has worked for me. So I'm definitely going to be doing kind of another video, about this technique and also about momentum in general. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right. Because I think these are just some amazing topics and amazing themes that I think can really, really help me inside of my healing journey. But I think it can help a lot of individuals and a lot of folks too. All right. So another thing we were talking about last week was this concept of getting away from negativity. Who in here wants to get away from negativity and all of its, let's just say, its non-advantages? I know I do. All right. And getting away from negativity is not always the easiest thing. It can be our own negativity. It could be the negativity of those around us, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So, we were talking about kind of literally just how to get away from negativity, our own, but then also just looking at the benefits that negativity in general, whether from others or ourselves, can have a negative impact on our wellness and on our mental health and everything. And another thing we're really talking about is this concept of toxic individuals versus chosen family. And looking at kind of some of the attributes of those toxic individuals who spread only that negativity, who kind of maybe have an ulterior motive, who are always talking negatively about literally everything and everything, and who are people that may not be supportive of you and your goals and what we want to do in life and everything. And we're talking about that, and pretty much looking at the difference between that as well as our chosen family, or those that we choose to have around us because they're supportive, because they love us, because they help us to feel amazing, and they uplift us and give us that energy and give us that power and give us that happiness. Okay. Now, I will always talk about it's important to cultivate, self happiness and self worth and self love. But I think, and self validation. But it's also important to kind of have the people around us to help us to encourage that as well. It's another thing we're really talking about last week. So, y'all, it was a very, very powerful week. Okay. And of course, we always had our affirmation statements, which are unbelievable. And I'm going to read some of those affirmation statements to you. Again, these were from participants from last week. And I think actually one is from us, one of the co facilitators, actually, as well. So, I am ready to take the path. I am able to do everything I can today and tomorrow. I am strong. I am focusing on the present. Mm. Y'all, aren't those powerful? Okay, those are some powerful affirmation statements right there. All right. So, and again, these are from our virtual participants that are just incredible. All right. So, I think for myself, the biggest takeaway from last week that I saw and everything, but also that I had for myself, was kind of looking at the difference between motivation and momentum. You know, I kind of always looked at, motivations like, okay, I need to stay motivated in my life, to keep moving forward and pushing myself forward and everything. And in order to keep that momentum going and everything. And one of the biggest things I learned, last week is about the differences between motivation and momentum. And I'm kind of looking at how to kind of integrate those into my own wellness journey, and how motivation is a lot more emotion based, because again, it comes from an emotion. But we feel emotionally there, and we feel, emotionally powerful enough to stay motivated and everything. And then momentum is a lot more action based, or how with motivation it can come and go, which is definitely my experience. Okay. But that momentum can be created intentionally. Okay. Those are, again, just some of those differences and everything. But, and it's really, really amazing, and as I said, I'm going to be doing, other videos and everything on, motivation and momentum, but then also the 5 4 3 2 1, the 5 second rule by Mel Robbins, as well, as I kind of, integrate that inside of, my personal wellness and inside of, my daily action steps. All right. So again, it's just really, really powerful. All right. So that will really about do it for your morning inspiration, your morning inspiration video for the day. That was your weekly recap. If you would like to join us today, our community practice is meeting this morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you do not have the link, let me know down in the comments below, or get with me on social media and say, Seth, I want the link to the group today. I was like, I got you covered. Okay, I got you covered with that Zoom link. All right, so there we go. All right, so that will about do it for your morning inspiration, your morning inspiration video for the day, y'all. I will say, do not quit before the miracle happens, my babies. Find ways to keep moving forward, because you are amazing. You're worth it. Let's join hands, do this together. Okay. I'll also say, stay positive, stay motivated, stay focused on your amazing, huge, big dreams and goals, my friends. All right. Thank you so much for watching your morning inspiration, your morning inspiration video for the day. And I will see you hello, cutie. How you doing this morning? You looking cute. You doing good this morning? Yes. Okay, that's what I like to hear. Okay. So I will see you and your gorgeous mug. Okay. In the morning inspiration video for tomorrow.